I just watched the movies Ghost Ship and Sphere, and Ghost Ship rocked, and Sphere was interesting. Seeing them basically back to back was real weird because Ghost Ship literally has a montage set to new metal of murder, whole scale, and Sphere is like, I can't tell you anything about Sphere. One, because it's a little to understand, and two, because if I tell you anything, it kind of ruins the movie. So it's a real thinker. In Ghost Ship, it's a bunch of scrappers who get a tip about there's a ghost ship that only I know about. Come, let's go and find it and maybe take some stuff off of it and sell it for money. And they get there and they realize, oh my god, it's a historic missing ship. We're gonna be millionaires. And then they find stuff on board that's a little more than they bargained for. Meanwhile, in Sphere, it starts off with a psychologist being told, hey, you wrote the manual on extraterrestrial contact. You knew what you were doing, right? And he's like, oh. And they take him and some other science people 1,000 meters below the water. They're underwater, okay? It's another underwater movie. And they're there to investigate an alien spacecraft. And inside, there's a sphere. A perfect sphere! They're very clear that it's a perfect sphere. And that's so cool, I guess. In Ghost Ship, each of the characters gets a moment to shine, and you really understand the interplay of these characters with each other, which is awesome. It's my favorite thing in a horror movie. It's just, I can't care about you if they didn't put the care in to flesh you out, right? But each of these characters, super well fleshed out. You kind of get a feel for their faults, their goals, their wants, and what they're good at. In Sphere, each of the characters is a brilliant scientist in a completely different field from each other, though there's a little bit of overlap between astrophysics and mathematics, but overall, if one person is needed to do something, they gotta go get that guy to do it, because everybody else will just stare at it like, yeah, I don't know how to decode a bunch of random numbers flashing on the screen. I don't know what that means. I'm a psychologist. Ghost Ship has ghosts. Shocker. The Sphere has a sphere. Ghost Ship is like a fast-paced action movie with horror elements sprinkled throughout that really like ratchet up the fun and the crazy. And also, the breasts do boobily at some point in the movie, so don't watch it at work. I definitely did not watch this at work. Sphere does not like the horror elements are more like vague or overwhelming natural threats that are somehow a little bit peculiar. It's all this familiar stuff that's just wrong. Just wrong. Weirdly enough, Ghost Ship and Sphere both kind of have a similar moral about like how much power human beings can really handle. Ghost Ship's more about the desire for power, and Sphere is more about having power and how we as a society aren't really ready for it. Now or later, humans just kind of can't have basically infinite power. It will go wrong. But in Ghost Ship, it's like, hey man, wouldn't you kill a whole bunch of people for some, like, money? And also, maybe the devil is real? It's a little hard to, it's, basically, he's kind of devilish. Also, never try and have sex with a ghost. I think that's the main moral of Ghost Ship is, if a hot Italian lady who died 60 years ago comes onto you, just politely say, I've got a fiance. Sorry. I don't know how to say that in Italian. Just... No? Please give me more suggestions. It's so interesting to have wildly different movies to compare against each other. Like, these have nothing to do with each other, and yet it's really fascinating going from, like, a literal head-banging moment where you're just watching a whole bunch of people fucking eat it, and the opening scene of Ghost Ship is worth the admission price of free on Tubi. And then comparing it to this very quiet, like, puzzly kind of movie of Sphere, which I think did not, like, come out and get, like, great theatrical attention, but I think it's a pretty good movie, personally. Both are definitely worth watching. I wouldn't say watch them at the same time. Definitely go get, like, popcorn, beer, friends, go watch Ghost Ship. But for Sphere, take the time to really kind of digest each scene. It's also laid out like a book because I believe Michael Crichton wrote Sphere. If I'm wrong on that, blame my brother who told me that a decade ago. Okay, bye!